Alright guys, so in this video I am going to be talking about the window washing mechanism of the Twin Towers and if there possibly could have been an escape if the doors to the roof were open on September 11th and the main window washer who actually cleaned the upper windows was inside the South Tower. But again, unfortunately the doors were locked, and maybe we can hypothesize on if they could have potentially gotten down. But when it comes to the window washer, what I've been told, the way it works, most of the windows weren't even washed by a human, just the upper top floors. It was all mechanical, and apparently it could drop all the way to the 9th floor. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys know with the Twin Towers and the Tridents, it gets really skinny at a certain point. So I would imagine the window washer, because of how wide it is, can only go down to a certain point of the Twin Towers, which is around the 9th floor. So the question is, let's say, and I think this probably only could have worked in the North Tower because of the longer time. The South Tower got hit after the North and fell before. So let's just say, hypothetically, you are in the North Tower, you're able to get up, you see the doors are locked, you break something into the doors to break the door open, and then you're on the roof. I will say there was a ton of smoke. I'm sure everyone's seen the helicopters going over the Twin Towers after they had been hit, and there was just smoke pouring out of every possible open area, just billowing out of the roof in about 30 different places. So this would have been very hard, but you would get on the window washer apparatus and theoretically you would be able to go down to about the 9th floor, and at that point the rescue workers would have had to get you one of those almost inflatable bubble things that you could hop on, like an inflatable trampoline where you jump on it. It's basically like an airbag. But you know what? Now that I think about it, there were many fire trucks in proximity. Could they potentially turn their ladder and get a rescue going with a fire truck ladder? That would possibly work as well and possibly be saved. That would be the only way I think it would be possible when it comes to the North Tower. I will say it really depends on where it was situated. The window washer was situated in relation to the plane crashing into the building, because technically if it's on the side where the plane crashed into the building, you're screwed. How are you going to get down? There's a hole in the side of the building, but maybe they could have gotten down the side. I don't know. Ideally, it would be positioned elsewhere so you wouldn't have to adjust it at all, and all you would have to do is go down. Now, when it comes to actually washing the upper windows, the windows that were not washed mechanically, there was a main window washer. His name was Roko Kamish, and he was in the South Tower, and he was communicating down with the NYPD, talking about their situation and asking for help. And obviously, being in the South Tower, unless you make 10 different lucky turns and you find the one stairwell that wasn't completely destroyed, you're pretty much screwed because you have no time to react with that plane impact. With the North, they had time. Of course, it didn't matter because the smoke was just so bad, but the idea of actually getting up to the roof, you would have rather have been in the North Tower because you would have had more time to react to the situation. And obviously he was a professional window washer. He knew what he was doing. He could have theoretically gotten to the roof, gotten onto the apparatus. Obviously the apparatus would not be moving at a high speed, but as long as you get on that, you would think you'd be able to get down to the 9th floor, and then they would be able to set something up to catch you, and that's how you would survive, using the window washing apparatus to get down and escape the Twin Towers. The main issue is always going to be smoke, though. Smoke and heat. It's just was so bad inside of the towers, and just people can't understand it. Is just, I mean, you can't even get to the staircase to get up to the roof because there's so much smoke and it's all rising up. Think about how much smoke would be trapped in between the stairwell to the roof and the locked doors to even get up there. I mean, just imagine though, if the doors weren't locked, it would still be a mess because there's just so much smoke. I mean, there would probably be people up there. Would they attempt a helicopter rescue with that much smoke on top of the Twin Towers? Would they try and pack 10 people like sardines into the window washer apparatus? Oh my goodness. But yeah, guys, so that's just the situation surrounding the window washer. And obviously, there were also reports, apparently it hadn't been used or moved for multiple days, the window washers on both the towers. That is something I also heard. And obviously, all of this is extremely unrealistic. The biggest thing going against something like this actually happening was the combination of the smoke with the locked doors to the roof, along with the limited time that they had. All those three things contributed. Also, the heat within the building as well. It's just basically impossible to think of something like this. You would probably have already had to have been on the roof. Like maybe if a maintenance worker was already on the roof of the North Tower, it gets hit, the South Tower gets hit, he's up there. Maybe you could say he could possibly get down and have time and they could rescue him that way. I mean, I don't know. Could you potentially jump from the 9th floor and survive something like... I mean, I'm sure they'd probably be able to rescue him, but like the issue would be, and you don't want to speculate too much on this, but imagine he's coming down and he's about to be rescued and the South Tower collapses. So, well, actually, it'd probably be after that, because the timing really doesn't... There's no way they'd be able to do all of that in such a short amount of time, but the moral of the story is it's basically impossible to envision a scenario where, unless they were on top of the roof, like the window washer, he's on top of the roof. Imagine if he was washing the windows. There's that famous photo of window washers on Building 7 washing the windows, or I don't know if they're trying to get back up. You can see both of the towers on fire in the background. It is crazy. And another thing you have to account for, and this is what a lot of us always miss when we think about these hypotheticals, oh, we could have done this, you could have done that, could he have done that? It's just, there was so much confusion. If you're in the North Tower above the impact zone, you don't even know what happened. For all you know, a bomb went off inside of the building. So you're not even thinking about, you're just like, what happened? And there's no thought of, oh, let's immediately go to the roof because the building's going to fall in an hour and this is how much time we have. They just didn't know any of that. So it's just completely unrealistic, but I did want to talk about it. I think the only argument that you could make would be if they were already on the roof, if they were possibly cleaning the windows when it happened, they could just go straight down. You do have to also wonder, imagine if they were cleaning the windows, it happens, and then they go up, because you would think... your first thought is not that the building's going to collapse. So I wonder if they might actually go up instead of going down, because in your mind, that, well, if I go down, I can't go all the way to the bottom because technically it stops at the 9th floor. Yes, they could get a ladder up to you. You could fall into an airbag, but it's just something interesting to think about, because a lot of people's first thought was not that the building was going to collapse. Would the window washers, if they were washing the upper windows, see the plane hit, the building shakes a little bit, and then they go back up to the top because they're just confused, they don't know what's going on, going down? It's just, you don't know the entire situation, you don't know the details, that's the issue. And then I did want to explain a few of these photos. You can see somebody is on the window washer right now, and they're recording and they're looking down. And this is like a famous photo that's been screenshotted, and you can just see that right there, kind of an interesting perspective. And then that is looking up. So the last one was down, that one is looking up. This is looking over the window washer apparatus, and you're about to see the plaza. You can actually see part of it, but there was also that one that I found as well. But either way, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.